All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you're new to me, Shefali Burns, new to my show, new to my channel on YouTube, please do subscribe. If you're here live with me, welcome, welcome. If you're watching on the replay, welcome, welcome. Again, it is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring to you these amazing speakers. Today, I'm the speaker and I'm the host, but these amazing speakers, including myself, who have tons of experience, wisdom, processes that they like to share. So it's so weird talking about myself, healings, etc., so that we can all thrive, so that we can all awaken to happiness now. Most of you know me, so I'm not going to go into the whole spiel of the bio, but in case there's somebody here who does not know me, I'm a quantum healer, connector to spirit, ascension assistant, transformation consultant, catalyst for change, and soul plan accelerator. I'm a speaker, author, intuitive healer, coach, and host of Awakened Happiness Now. Um, so weird. I use my intuition and energy mastery to help clients align with the truth of who they are as powerful beings here to experience their greatest life aligned with their soul plan and purpose. It's so strange. So, anyways, so today we're going to be talking about the hidden codes of the universe, how to work with the universal laws to create your life. So some of what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to give you an introduction to the universal laws. What are the universal laws? Why do they matter? An explanation of a few of the laws, and also I'll be facilitating a guided activation to help us all remember the universal laws within our soul's wisdom. So it's not like they're out there anywhere. Everything is within, right? So we're going to talk about all of that and more. So let me just see. So welcome, welcome everyone. It's a different conversation. It's a different call because, again, I'm the host and I'm the guest. It's quite strange, actually. But it's just like doing a healing call, I suppose, right? Like we did yesterday. Hopefully, whoever was on the call yesterday, hopefully you're still receiving the healing. Just affirm. If you were not on the call, I did put the video up on YouTube, so you can always go and watch it there and receive and receive. Okay. All right. So let's get started a little bit quickly with universal laws. So for those of you who are here with me live, um, if you want to just type in the chat, do you know about the universal laws? Do you work with the universal laws? What is your experience with the universal laws? So if you want to type that in the chat, that'd be great. That's just, it gives me a baseline for um, how much people know and what to talk about, how deeply to go into things or not. But if you want to just, you can just type in like nothing. Okay, good to know. So I will explain a little bit. Um, a newbie. Okay, no worries. Nothing. Okay, I had no idea that people did not know. So I just assumed everybody did, right? But never assume. So awesome. No worries. I'm gonna give you a brief little introduction, and then we'll talk about a few of them, why they matter, etc. Okay. So, and honestly, if you have been on any of uh, my healing calls, if you've been, for those of you in the VIP inner circle, you've heard me talk about these things all the time, even though I may not say universal laws, but I'm talking about these laws all the time. Right, so you are going to be quite familiar, even though I didn't say the words. This is the universal law of blah blah blah. Okay, but all right, good to know. Interesting. That some of you do know a little bit, some of you don't know anything at all. So this is going to be kind of like a teaching call. Okay, so I did create a PDF, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of information from the PDF that is part of the bonus for the special offer that I'm offering, which is a 4-week live series into the universal laws. But besides that, so these universal laws are similar to natural laws, physical laws, I guess you could say. So for me, there is a divine intelligence, right, that governs everything in existence. That superpower, source, creator, God, but even for me, it's even higher than that. Okay. So just like there are physical laws and natural laws that govern gravity, motion, etc. Universal laws govern energy, creation, healing, time, and even purpose. Okay, so when you understand and apply some of these laws, you move from confusion to clarity, from resistance to flow, from survival to soul-led creation, right? To alignment. So, some of what I'm going to talk about today, and you're going to be able to access in the PDF and the guide, as well as in the 4-week series, is we're going to reawaken your inner creator, right? We're going to connect with your higher self, and you're going to start living in alignment with the laws that shape the universe. And these laws are, it's not like they work sometimes and only for some people. No, they work all the time for everyone. So, and it's also about embodying, right, these laws. And so working with them and embodying them is how you start living with them and through them and start to perceive the changes in your life. Okay. Does that make sense so far? So some of I'm going to talk a little briefly about why they matter, even, right? So they matter because they are working through us, not forcing us, but they're always in motion. They're always in force. They're always acting upon us, right? And so if we can be in alignment with them, be in flow with them, then we're going to be able to access more of our own true essence, access more of our manifestation powers, access more of our alignment with source, creator, our higher self, right? And so it's important to remember that this is not about beliefs, right? This is not about even thoughts, right? Feelings, even. These are true laws that are working all the time. And if you can start to recognize them and start to work with them, start to embody them, start to be in alignment with them, you're going to feel or sense or perceive an actual transformation in your life, right? In your energy field and in your life. So, let me just make sure I'm following the process properly. Hold on. Here we go. And so these are not like, uh, well, we'll just start talking about a few of them, and just so you'll have an idea. Okay. So for me, these laws are, yeah, what's the word? Irrefutable, they're saying, right? Intractable, I don't know what that means exactly, but irrefutable is what they're saying. And they're always in force. I don't like the word action, but they're always working for us and through us, right? So, a lot of some of the ones that we know for sure are like the law of abundance, law of attraction. We hear about that all the time, right? Law of action. We hear that all the time. But today I want to talk, because we are, a healing community, and we talk a lot about healing. I wanted to share a little bit about some of the ones regarding like the law of vibration, right? The law of forgiveness, because we do a lot of forgiveness work, the law of healing, the law of grace, right? So, and even the law of transmutation. So we talk about these things when we're doing healing work, right? We talk about transmuting energy, right? And so the law of transmutation really means that energy exists all the time. It changes form. It can never be destroyed. It can only change, right? So you can shift from fear to love. So fear is an energy, love is an energy, right? From pain to power. Pain is actually an energy, right? Stuckness in your body causes pain, right? But it's still an energy. Everything is energy, right? And to power, power in your body, right? Does that make sense so far? Oh, let me just see. And I know I tend to talk too fast, so I'll try and not talk so fast. But when I get on a roll, it's like, yes, 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 keep talking. All right. So for those of you who just joined now, I was asking how many of you are familiar with the universal laws? How many of you are not? And if you want to just type in the chat, yes, you are, or no, you're not. Some of you may be experts better than me, right? So then this will be a test, right? But some people have already said that no, they are not familiar with they don't know how the laws work. They don't know what the laws are. So if you want to just type in the chat, it gives me an idea of how, like, should I go deeper into these laws or just generally because, I don't want to overwhelm you kind of thing, right? So we were talking about like the law of, awesome, good. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, which, I know you won't, but you can, okay? Feel free to. We can all have different ideas, okay? So the law of transmutation, we use that a lot in healing, but it's not about the, healing energies that we wanted to change. Even the law of transmutation also works with like your beliefs, right? Because beliefs are energy as well. So once you start to understand that everything is energy, so beliefs are also energy. So that can be changed, right? It's not destroyed, it can be transformed and changed into something else, something much more empowering for you, right? It's always about empowerment for you. It's not about living in limitation. Um, and so when we talk about, for example, the law of healing, right? We all, I did a healing call yesterday. I mean, I did the community call, but it was all healing, right? And healing happens. So healing happens. I don't do healing. Healing happens, right? You are your own healer. We all know this. And so healing happens when the energy is flowing freely, right? And when truth is acknowledged. And that's why I always talk about when you're receiving healing or when you're doing clearings, etc., always receive the wisdom. Always acknowledge the truth. What is the truth of the situation? Because only then can true healing take place, because that's when change takes place, right? Again, if healing is about energy flow, we know that energy is always moving. Energy can never be destroyed. Energy is always changing, can be changing, right? So we know that when you are uh, in an unhealed state, it means that somewhere that energy needs to be changed in some form. It needs to be transformed into some form, right? And it means about having the energy continue to flow. Um, and so when it comes to that, always acknowledging what the truth is for you. So your truth is going to change all the time. So my truth in this moment is this, but when I receive new wisdom, new insights, new awarenesses, new perceptions, my truth can be changed. Does that make sense? Because of the wisdom I'm receiving. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Because there's no, I mean, there are some ultimate truths, but your own truths are what really matter in your life because you are the creator of your reality, right? The whole universe, your whole reality revolves around you. Everything else is just like everything outside of you is a projection of your truth, what you believe in, right? Your feelings, your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns, all that is your truth, okay, in a particular moment. And that will obviously change anytime you do any healing work, anytime you do any mindset work, anytime you do any belief work, right? So your truth can change, will change. So in healing work, especially belief work, mindset work, uh and especially on this ascension pathway that we're all on, we do a lot of work with forgiveness, right? And the law of forgiveness basically states that true healing begins with forgiveness for yourself and for others. And what it does, it frees you from energetic bondage, right? So basically, when you are working with forgiveness, you're freeing up energies. The energies are being released, right? So you are free from those energies that are keeping you stuck, keeping you in resentment, unforgiveness, etc., right? So what's important to remember is, releasing those energies so they can move more freely, so that you have more freedom and correspondingly more grace. Okay. And these are, sometimes we think, well, I've been doing forgiveness work for so long and things don't seem to be shifting and changing. But the thing is, a lot of the patterns that you may have in your field in your belief system may have been there for thousands, tens of thousands of years, right? So sometimes it can take, I don't believe in that it can take a long time, but sometimes it's a process, right? Of how much we are willing to release, how much we're really truly willing to change, right? How much of the energy we're willing to acknowledge. Okay, does that make sense? Anybody have any questions so far? Because feel free to ask questions, because otherwise this is going to be a very short call, which is fine. But these universal laws are basically tools that you can use. I don't like the word use, work with to mold and create and craft your reality as you're moving forward on your path. Okay. So I just wanted to share really quickly a little bit about, when in the past little while, I was well, you could say, I'd been struggling, and part of that struggle had to do with uh situations, um and change in my life, right? And so, as I was navigating that situation, um, I had to make a change, right? So, a few years ago, as you know, some of you know, I hit a wall. I was exhausted, overwhelmed. I was trying to hold everything together, right? And I started to question everything because everything was difficult. And so that's when, and I had known about the universal laws obviously before, because I had done a series on this back in September 2022, right? And so that's when I first started working with these universal laws more deliberately, right? Um, and I discovered a deeper truth that the universe operates by laws, right? Not rules, not beliefs, but energetic truths. And when I started to align with these, things began to shift. Now, I'll be honest, I'm sometimes a stubborn person, right? So sometimes it can take me a little while, but the more that you work with these laws, the easier it will get. Okay. So again, these universal laws are like energetic principles that are governing reality, right? Like gravity, like I said, but for your emotions, your thoughts, and your spirit. So we've all heard, right, about the law of attraction, but really there's over 100 laws, right? There's a system, a matrix of universal laws that guide how energy works, how creation happens, and how your life unfolds. And I truly believe that if you start working with these laws and truly embodying them, you will uh, receive and feel and have transformation in your life. So the reason why they matter, really, um, it when you start to work with these laws, they help you to understand why things happen, right? And it stops the unconscious creation. Instead of being on automatic pilot, doing stuff remotely, you become aligned with ease, with flow, with purpose, right? When you understand the laws, you don't have to keep pushing and struggling. You begin to work with energy, not against it. So you're not going against the flow. You stop blaming yourself for others, and you start becoming the deliberate creator of your experience. Okay. And so it can take time because again, some of our belief systems are so ingrained within us. And some of our stories are, we identify sometimes very strongly with our stories, and it's hard for us sometimes to see something beyond the story or something different, a different perspective on the story, right? So that's why it sometimes can take a little bit of time, but it's definitely possible. Yeah, I hear you. I was there. Sometimes I still feel like I'm still there, but no. Um, so one of the laws that I talked about a few already, but another one that we work with all the time, especially in these healing calls and in this healing community, is the law of vibration, right? Everything is energy and it carries a frequency, right? And your emotional state attracts matching experiences. So I'll be honest with you, totally vulnerable and transparent. Yesterday, I had a thought. It was not a positive thought, right? Um, but it was not just a thought, it was a feeling. I had a feeling. And so I was like, okay, well, let me change, let me change that feeling. So I started with the thought, changing the thought, right? Because feelings are associated with thought, right? So it's like, all right, so the feeling and the thought were not matching. I was still feeling the negative emotion, right? Even though the thought was empowering and positive, blah, 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 but there was still a gap. Right. So, but I could perceive that. It's like, yeah, I might be saying the words, but I feel my energy is still not quite there. Right. So that happens. Right. So that's why it's so important to look at your vibration, at your frequency, your feeling. Right. In this case. Uh, so it's like to be in alignment, they both have to be at matching, right? Your vibration frequency as well as your consciousness has to match, right? Right. So that was the just really quickly wanted to give that explanation and an example about the law of vibration. So my emotional state is not going to attract what I consciously wanted because it was not having the same vibration, right? So you have to work with both. But if you can recognize it, that's the first step. Now, we talk a lot about allowing, right? So the law of allowing, and this is a hard one, is because this is a hard one for me. It's about releasing control and allowing what wants to emerge. Even though I do that, quite a bit, but there are still some moments where it's hard for me to release that control. So the law of allowing is about releasing control and allowing what wants to emerge. Now, how many of us are recovering? I know you guys don't like the word freak, but recovering control people. How many of you, including me, are recovering from the habit of trying to be in control of everything? I know I am, and I like to say recovering. Um, and getting better and better all the time, but there are still moments when I go into that control mechanism, and that's a pattern, yes, but that comes from a place of fear. And again, that's an energy, right? It's a controlling energy, right? So it's a vibration, it's a frequency. Is it empowering? Nope. Is it expansive? Nope. But it is what I know, and it's what I'm used to, but I'm getting better at it. Does that make sense? I'm recovering from not trying to control everything in my life. Awesome. Yes, exactly. So music, singing, and dancing are easier ways for raising my vibration out of control. Absolutely. Yeah. But can you you can't do singing and dancing and music 24 hours a day. But if you can recognize it in those moments, that's great. That's great. Yes, I had to release the control, and I have been in control my whole life. Learning how to let go is a blessing on what shows up. Absolutely. And sometimes what shows up is even more magical than what you could have imagined, but you won't know until you release that control, unless you allow yourself to allow what's going to happen, right? To show up. So, magic shows up when we surrender, right? And so the law of allowing is a big one for all of us, releasing control and allowing what wants to emerge. Um, now, one law I did not like for a long time, I'll be honest, but I'm getting better, is the law of reflection, right? Life mirrors your inner world. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I didn't use that term, right? I didn't say law of reflection, but your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, right? And that's the truth. So that's a law. So once you know that, then it's like, okay, so I know that is a law. The law of reflection is that my life is going to mirror my inner world. So if I want my outer world to change, I need to change my inner world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? It doesn't mean that it's easy. And that's what this is what we have to get. I'm not saying that any of this is easy, but once you start to have the awareness of it, it becomes easier. Okay. Um, so from some of the laws I mentioned right now, which of these laws resonate most with you right now? Now, we don't have to master all of them right away, right? So what you want to do is start with one and then watch how everything starts to shift. So of the laws that I mentioned so far today, which one resonates with you the most? I'm going to see if I can remember all the ones I said. And try to remember all the ones I said, right? So I said the law of vibration. I mentioned the law of allowing, the law of reflection. I I mentioned some other ones, but I mentioned I have no idea now. Law of forgiveness, right? The law of healing and the law of transmutation. So of those ones that I mentioned, which one resonates with you the most in this moment? Reflection, yep. Law of allowing resonates with me the most. All of the above. Allow taking the rest that my body needs, doing nothing, sleeping during the day is very difficult for me. Yeah, for sure. So if you find one that is very difficult, then you know that that's the one you really need to work on, right? Work with. Forgiveness and surrender. Yep. The law of allowing. Allowing is my work in progress. Yeah. Reflection. Wanting to get my home more organized. Awesome. So, what I recommend and what my guides are suggesting is to work with a couple for a week. One, two, or three for a week, right? Just be with it. So we're going to do a process in a little bit, but it's just about ask yourself questions about it, right? So you can ask questions like, when it comes to some of the ones like the law of forgiveness, law of healing, law of transmutation, you can ask yourself questions like, what emotional patterns or wounds are calling for healing? Where can I forgive or ask for grace? What am I ready to release, transmute, or purify? Right? Um, you can also ask, what have you been unconsciously creating? Right? What are you ready to align with? Where are you ready to align with the law rather than resist it first? So for example, where are you ready to align with the law of allowing rather than resist it, right? Or where are you ready to align with the law of reflection rather than resist it, etc., right? So you can start to ask yourself those types of questions and then see what comes to you. Okay. Okay, so how's that feeling so far? Okay. Positive, awesome. And as you all know, for me, it's always about positive positivity, empowerment, change, transformation. Easier said than done. Absolutely. And I'm so glad you mentioned that because it's true. It's easier said than done. It's like sitting with one of the laws and allowing yourself to truly embody it, and then asking yourself questions about it. It takes time. Like you have to sit with it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? But I think we all have 5 or 10 minutes for ourselves, right? So even though it is easier said than done, it is a matter of us choosing to do it, right? Choosing to choose ourselves instead of something else. I realize my partner and I are good because we allow one another to be serious and goofy and knowing the difference. Awesome. Yeah. And, in a relationship, allowance is so important, right? Allowing the person to be whoever and whatever they are. Of course, you know, as long as it's all good, not violence or emotional abuse or anything like that. Oh, I didn't read your message up there, Tina, but I'm wishing you all the best, okay? With Zoe and surrounding her with so much love and healing energies, okay? I cannot do, I mean, yeah, I hate it when my Neo is something and anything's wrong with him. But yeah, holding you in healing and grace. All right, so we're gonna do a short process activation to help you to remember um, who you are and that these laws are within you, and the wisdom of these laws are within you. Okay. Awesome. Enjoy your time with your daughter and grandson for sure. Yeah. When I feel that I'm conquering my resistance, can you truly conquer resistance? No. You can go from resistance to allowance and flow, right? So when I feel that I'm conquering my resistance, it seems that someone has a bug in their shorts to something me. Yeah. So again, that is just giving you information that you still need to do a little bit more work on resistance or allowance, right? You're still being triggered by. So what my guides are saying, it's not about the resistance. It's basically you're being triggered because it's something you want to change, but what angle are you wanting to change it from? So it's like, are you wanting to change it because you feel lack, scarcity, like there's something wrong with you? Or are you wanting to change it because you want to be more in flow, you want to be more expansive, you want to be more in alignment and in allowance? So are you going towards something or are you running away from something? Right? So I'll leave that with you, but with anything, that's the way it is. Are you moving towards something expansive and positive and good, etc., or are you running away from something? Okay. So you need to look at your motivation behind your choice of conquering resistance, which you can't conquer resistance. You can only move into flow and allowance. Yes, there's so much I want to change, but it won't work from a place of anger or fear. Absolutely. Yep. If there's something you want to change, it has is a strong word. Um, but it's going to come from a place of expansiveness, empowerment, uh, and self-worth, right? Um, not from a place of anger or fear, because when you're coming from a place of anger or fear, there's resistance there, right? And it's not flowing. It won't work. So it's about changing your motivation, changing your energy, always asking, why do I want to make this change? Why do I want to make this change? Okay. But yeah, that's a great point. Okay. Any other questions or comments before we go into the process? So I just want to see if there's anything else that they wanted to say about that, because I've talked about that too many times, but I just want to make sure and there isn't anything else around that they want to share. So when you are wanting to change something in your life, always be coming from your heart space, first of all, not from your head, because your head is going to say, yeah, I need to change this, I need to change that, blah, blah, blah. But it's not about change a lot of times. A lot of times it's about acceptance of what is, acceptance of yourself. Um, loving yourself as you are, not necessarily loving the situation, right? We're not talking about loving the situation, but accepting the situation, right? You can't change a situation if you're resisting it and running away from it. You have to first come to a true place of acceptance. And then from that place of acceptance, then you will receive the awareness of what needs to change. And then when you receive that awareness of, or when you're in that state of acceptance, there may not be anything to change, because now that energy of I need to change this, I need to change that is gone. You'll be more in flow, right? So really look at that. So come from your heart space always instead of your head. Your head is going to say a million things, but what is your heart saying? What is your soul saying? What is your higher self saying? Your higher self, I'll be honest, your higher self is hardly ever going to say you need to change things. Your higher self is going to 99% of the time say to love yourself. Just love yourself. Just accept yourself. You are loved. You are so loved. You are so worthy. We love you. It's always going to be that. But can you accept that? Can you accept that you're lovable as you are? Can you accept that you are loved as you are? I know we've kind of like kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there for a second. So sometimes you just have to be in that state and just accept that you're loved, accept that you are loving, accept that you're lovable. I remember a couple of years ago, I did this exercise where I said those things to myself every morning, every night for like 30 days. That I'm lovable, I'm loving, I'm loved. 30 days, I think it was, every morning and night. And it was powerful. It was truly powerful. So, because I did not feel like that for myself. I did not feel like I was lovable. Um, I mean, yes, I'm loved by certain people, kind of thing, but you know what I mean? So I always questioned, um, like, why does my husband love me? What is there about me for him to love? I could never find an answer. So even though I'm sure there's many things, but I could never find an answer. Um, but those 30 days, when I did that, it was quite powerful. So I highly recommend it. Most difficult to accept that I'm lovable. Yeah, but start saying it and start believing it and start feeling it that you are. And if you can't say that I am lovable, you can say I'm starting to feel that I am lovable, right? So have that little thing at the beginning first, and then once you feel it more and more, then you can start to say I am lovable. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's do a process. Let's do an activation process, whatever you want to call it. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's see. Steps. See what they're going to want to do today. Hold on. Got it. Let me take a sip. Everyone just be in your heart space. Expand out a little bit. Creator, all that is, it is commanded that you pull, clear, cancel, and delete on all four levels and resolve on the history level. Any waywards, any watchers, any entities, any thought forms, any attachments, anything seen or unseen, known or unknown, perceived or unperceived, anything that stops us from being a pure channel of unconditional love and receiving this activation and healing, connecting to our higher self, and connecting to the universal laws to create our life. Okay, so we're just going to quickly ground and connect as well. So see, feel, hear, and perceive a pillar of light that extends all the way down, all around you and through you, all the way down to the heart chakra of Mother Earth, extends all the way up to the heart chakra of the great central sun, continuing on to source. This is going to ground you and anchor you here into the heart chakra of Mother Earth, as well as the great central sun and source. So expand out, be in your heart space. So we're going to just take you on a little journey. But it's going to be it's different one today. So imagine that you are in this pillar of light and you're floating in this pillar of light, and you're floating up, up, up. And it's a warm energy in this pillar of light. It feels calm, it's gentle, but you're going up, 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 up this pillar of light. And you start to notice clouds now in this pillar of light. Gentle, fluffy, white clouds, purple clouds, pink clouds. And so then you are actually able to stand on one of these clouds. So stand on the cloud, and it's going to take you up and away to a place, to a garden. Now, this cloud has a solid bottom, solid crystal bottom, so you're quite safe and secure. And this cloud then gently lands. It's weird as the cloud is landing, but the cloud gently lands in this beautiful garden that is like it's like a crystalline garden. So everywhere you see crystal sparkling, even the pathways are solid crystal. And there you can see trees that are glistening with gold, as well as diamonds and crystals in the bark and in the leaves. All the flowers and the bushes, they're all, again, just glowing and shining and even sparkling and blinking. So as you step off the cloud onto the pathway, you're just going to keep walking a little bit more, and you see up ahead on the right hand side, maybe even you're going to see a waterfall that's coming down. And then beside the waterfall, there is a bench, and it's a solid crystal bench. It could be whatever crystal you choose. Could be clear quartz, it could be amethyst, it could be a rose quartz, whatever you choose. To go and sit on this bench. And as you're looking around at everything, at the brilliance, at the everything glowing, everything shining, everything sparkling, your vibration is raised and you're feeling so full of peace, but also excitement because the energies here are so fabulous. And as you're looking around, it's kind of like you're just waiting, right? And so slowly a being starts to come towards you. At first, all you see is light, a glowing light. It could be gold, it could be yellow, it could be whatever color starts to come towards you. And as it starts coming closer and closer, it starts to take form, comes closer and closer, and you notice that it's your higher self. And so your higher self comes and sits down next to you, holds your hand. And as you are holding the hands of your higher self, they start to send energies into your heart space and into your third eye. And what they're doing right now is that they are activating, energizing, aligning you with the universal laws so that you have a more uh, concrete expression of them within you, so that you can recognize their energy, recognize their essence. And so as these are being activated, because they're already within you, but they're just not as active as they could be. So now as they're being activated, you start to feel your field and your energy and your body start to um, buzz and shimmer, and you feel more electric. At the same time, you're glowing more. And so as you're sitting with your higher self, you have this opportunity to not only receive this activation of these universal laws, this higher wisdom for yourself that you can start to work with in your life, but you have this opportunity to merge with the energy of your higher self, to receive more of the energies of your higher self. So your higher self puts their forehead to your forehead and starts merging their energy with your energy, meaning they're giving you some of their energy. Not really a giving, but you have access to more of your higher self's energy, so more of your own energy. So just receive that for a moment, perceive that, feel that. So as this is happening, you might feel tingling, you might feel coolness, or you might feel heat in your body, in your being, in your energy field. You might have tears, tears of remembrance, tears of just joy and awe, tears of feeling like you are loved, you are lovable, knowing that you are, especially in this moment. As the merging feels complete, your higher self asks you if there is any question that you have for them. You can ask that question now. So you may receive the answer now, you may receive the answer later, but you will receive the download for sure. And for some of you, your higher self is just putting their hand on your heart chakra just to open up is not the right word, activate your heart chakra a little bit more. So they're tapping on it. And even that tapping is a receiving of energies and frequencies and vibrations from your higher self. And as that is happening, it's like your whole being is suddenly um, glowing, yes, but it's like it's even bigger than it was before. It's like you're taller, you're bigger, you're more expansive, you're lighter at the same time. And it's about being in your heart space. And it's actually about being, just being, not thinking, not doing, just being for a moment. So as your higher self finishes with the tapping on your heart chakra, he also makes a sweep of your whole energy field. And it's kind of like he is uh, installing some uh, sacred geometry and technologies to represent these universal laws. It'll be different for each of you, but some of you may perceive a sound or a symbol or a shape or a color, some sort of frequency change within you as he is completing this process of activating those universal laws within you. And to actually make it more concrete, he or she is actually going to place a gift in your hands, which is again symbolic of these universal laws. So just open your hands to receive. So it could be anything, but it could be like a rose or a key or a star or flowers or whatever happens to be for you. So just receive that into your heart space, into your heart chakra, into your energy field and aura. And you can say thank you to your higher self. And as your higher self gets up to leave, they say that they are always with you. They are never away from you. That you and them are inseparable. You're always together. You are a part of each other, and they're always here with you. So as they leave, you don't feel despair or sadness. You just are filled with gratitude and appreciation and joy for the experience, for the activation, for the healing, even for all the energies and frequencies that you received. You're grateful. And as you look around the garden, as you look around this beautiful place, you're just awestruck. You're just like, sometimes words are not sufficient to describe something. So then you slowly get up from your crystal bench and you walk over to the cloud that's still there. And you step on the cloud, and then the cloud comes back into this pillar of light, brings you slowly, slowly back down, 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 and brings you all the way down to the heart chakra of Mother Earth so that you can ground, embody, and anchor in the activations, the healing, the process, the energies, the frequencies, the wisdom. So we're so thankful, we're so thankful, we're so thankful, we're so grateful, we're so grateful, we're so grateful. So come back to your body, come back into your seat, come back into your space, wiggle your toes and fingers, and open your eyes whenever you're ready. Okay, drink some water, everyone. How are you all doing? That was I have to say that was awesome. Feeling good, awesome, good. Yeah, that was awesome. That was amazing. I loved it myself, I have to say. Right? Awesome. Ah, so before we go further, just really quickly, how many of you what was the gift that you received? Just, you might know right now, you might get the answer later, but did you get a message from your higher self, wisdom from your higher self? So wonderful. Thank you. That was so beautiful. Felt great. Thank you. Of course, you can do this again. Violets, awesome. Yeah, I remember saying flowers at the end because like I knew somebody was gonna get flowers. For me, I drifted off. No worries, you can always do this again. And just because you drift off does not mean that you didn't get the healing or the activation or the wisdom. You still did, okay? A bright shining orb, awesome. A beautiful golden sparkling star, nice. For me, it was I don't even know how to describe it, but it was a round. Uh, it's kind of like a ball, but it was not an octagon, but lots of shapes. So definitely sacred geometry, but not an octagon, but it's bigger. Maybe a dodecahedron. I'm not even sure. The violets live at the feet of my lavender plants. Oh, nice, beautiful, awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to share really quickly my screen. Let's hope it doesn't misbehave like it did the other day, but I think it will. I think I need to get a thing. So I'm just going to quickly share the special offer. So I shared a little bit about some of the laws, right? So I am offering a 4-week live Universal Laws series. And with that, a bonus of the Universal Laws guidebook as well for the people who purchase the package. And so the 4-week live series, um, we're going to work with probably 16. I said 12 plus, but it's probably going to be 16 or more universal laws. So every week we're going to do 4 or 5, right? We're going to be working with your higher self, my team, my galactic healing collective, to learn about these laws and work with them, how to work with them. So like a little bit like the process was today, but it'll be more about the specific laws. So today we just activated the laws within you, but we're going to be working with at least 16 of them. Okay, and so I said July 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, but I was like, I'm not sure if we can do the 9th. I think we'll have to wait a week. I was right, because we have a company coming tomorrow from the US, which of course I did not know about until today, but somehow I was like, something was coming to me that I probably couldn't do the 9th. Right, so it'll be 4 Wednesdays, 16th, 20th, 3rd, 30th, and then August 7th or whatever that happens to be. So if you can attend, that'd be great. If you can attend live, great. If not, you can always watch the replays, the recordings, and you're going to get all the recordings as well. Okay, so we're not going to start tomorrow. We're going to start the next Wednesday. Okay, because I realized too that nope, it's not going to happen. So I kind of felt it. So beautiful clear quartz crystal spheres were given in both hands. Oh, nice, beautiful. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions about the 4-week series, let me know. Sue, if you're still here. No, I don't know if she is. Oh, yeah, she is. Yeah, so we're not going to start tomorrow. We're going to start next Wednesday, okay? I kind of had this inkling, but but it is what it is. All right, so anybody have anything else coming up? How are you feeling, like energy-wise now in your body and your being? Hold on, let me get the proper thing. So, so I didn't want to go too much into on that page because it keeps being weird, right, on me. So it's like, ugh, I think I have to get a mouse. Anyways, so really quickly, hold on, let me just tell you really quickly what we were going to do on these. So week 1, we're going to be doing some work with the foundations of creation, some of the laws to do with foundations of creation. Week 2 is going to be around clearing resistance and karma. Week 3 is going to be around living in flow and trust. And week 4 is going to be about soul purpose and your new reality, right? So each week we're going to be doing these live calls, energy work, to guide your inner transformation. So if you're ready to live in alignment with the universal laws, with universal truth, this is your invitation. And I think it's going to be, again, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be expansive. I think it's going to be transformational. And it's something that you want to work with, over and over again. So, in the guide that you're going to get, you're going to have all of the laws. So you can work on the rest afterwards, right, at your leisure. But it's about really starting to recognize that if you want to create your reality, you need to work, but it's helpful if you work with these universal laws to recognize that you are the creator of your life. You are not the victim in any way, and that you are empowered. You're an empowered creator, right? So we can change our reality, but we just have to know how to work with these laws and some other tools, of course, to do that, right? So other than that, I think we're good. I was trying to keep it to an hour. Yes. So I will have the recordings out in a little while, so you can go back and watch again for all the wisdom, but also watch again to receive that process again, right? If you want, it's not about receiving the activation again, but sometimes just being that in that energy with your higher self, merging with your higher self, even that alone is going to be really helpful for you. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. This was great. This was fun, quick.
Thank you, Shefali.
Thank you so much. So yes, I look forward to working with you, and playing with these universal laws to help us all create our realities, create transformation in our lives, change in our lives, and again, start moving forward um, with our creations. I always talk about creation, but we're always living, right? In any moment, we're living, we're creating. So thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much, Fly. This has been an amazing call today. Awesome. Thank you. All right, everyone. So have a great afternoon, day, evening. I'm glad it was a wonderful experience for you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, have a great, wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be. And until next time, there are no more calls this week. So we'll see you next week for sure. But I may, but I definitely won't be tomorrow. So until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings. Bye for now.